Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. A very hot topic, a very sexy topic for you guys. Masteries. Ooh. We're going to try to keep it short here, guys. I've selected in today's video 4 masteries from each tree. Offense, defense, and support. 4 masteries that I want to highlight. So 12 total. And these are not necessarily the best masteries in the game. We'll probably do a follow-up video, maybe masteries part 2, part 3, because I want to talk about specifically in this video a variety of different masteries, but I want to kind of draw a delineation and juxtapose the difference between good PvE masteries and good PvP masteries, right? What's better for the long haul and what's better for the first punch on an enemy or the first hit on your champions, right? The thing I love about masteries, guys, all jokes aside, is that there's no perfect solution on masteries for any champion because it's dependent on not just your champion, but how you're building your champion for artifacts and the rest of the options that you guys go ahead and choose. But even more so than that, where are you using this champion, A, and B, who are you using this champion with? Who else is on the team? All of those factors play a role into what the right mastery is for you. So for that reason, you should never, ever, ever just blindly copy masteries. A quick example before we jump into it here is going with crit rate, even if you already have 100% crit rate. Don't go with deadly precision if you already have 100% crit rate on your champion. Go with the extra attack, Blade Disciple. Why not, right?
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Let them cry, let them giggle, let them sleep.
Same thing with the accuracy. People just blindly go into plus 10 accuracy on the support tree. Sure, you know, more accuracy is generally a good thing, but for PvE content, maybe you already have 300, 200, 350 accuracy, enough for wherever you are in the game, and you're better off picking up a whopping 810 HP on those champions. So never just blindly copy masteries. Always think through it a little bit, right? So anyway, let's start with offense. I've chosen 3 champions as well to kind of illustrate how I'm using these masteries, on those champions. Starting out with Leo the Proud here. Leorius the Proud, a very recent addition to my team. Really love this champion here, guys. These are the arena kind of offense masteries that I went with for this champion. Again, don't blindly copy anything, but specifically, I love picking up Shield Breaker just in case the enemy team has shields. But I wanted to start by talking about Ruthless Ambush. This is a very, very good ability, guys. Very good. No matter who your arena nuker is, they should have this mastery. 8% when you're hitting for over 100k damage. Some nukers after the debuffs are applied can be, you know, 10%. More, or 10k, plus more damage onto the receiver of their first blow on an AoE attack. So 8% extra damage times 4 enemies inside the arena. You're gonna really want to pick up this mastery for your nuker. Also, you can use Ruthless Ambush outside of PvP on a champion like Royal Guard or Cold Heart if you're focused on Spider 20, right? Where you're not mitigated enemy max HP attacks. You can go ahead and get an extra 8%. Why not, right? So mastery number 2 is going to be right underneath that one. It's going to be Opportunist. Now, this one's a little bit more niche than Ruthless Ambush, but for the Opportunist mastery, you're getting an extra 12% damage if the target has Stun, Sleep, Fear, True Fear, or Freeze. So if you have Still the Drakes, if you have Miscreated Monster, if you have a champion like Ninja, a champion like Cornelia, who's going to be the next one that we spotlight here, going before your nuker in the arena, well, you're going to want to make sure that your nuker has Opportunist. Think about it. Opportunist is 12% extra damage. Ruthless Ambush is 8% extra damage. That's 20% extra damage on the first hit on the enemy inside the arena. So if you do have a setup champion crowd controlling any of the enemy team, you definitely want to pick up Opportunist. Even in PvE content, if you have a reliable stunner or freezer on your team, go ahead and equip your nuker with the Opportunist mastery. The next one is going to be Bring It Down, one of the most powerful masteries on the offensive tree. Increase the damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. Now for the arena, most of the time your nukers are going to have lower HP than most of the enemies, but more importantly for these long battles, aka clan boss. I mean, almost every boss inside the entire game is going to have more or higher max HP than any specific champion that you have on your team, no matter who they are, especially your nukers. So extra 6% on every single attack throughout the duration of the entire battle. Think about that against Clan Boss. This is a very important mastery to have. You're inflicting 6% overall extra damage on every single hit and ability. Very, very strong and good ability here. And then the last one I want to talk about is kind of a cheat. I actually want to talk about tier 6, War Master versus Helm Smasher versus Giant Slayer versus Flawless.
I mean, where the should I really even start?
Flawless Execution is my least favorite of the 4, at least the one that I use the least. I generally only use it on champions that do damage based on enemy max HP, and even then, Helm Smasher is better in a lot of use cases. So maybe for my Septimus or Coulthard or Royal Guard, I will go Flawless, but a champion that I'm going to be using against waves, like Seer, for example, I'm definitely going to go Helm Smasher. Helm Smasher is great against any PvE content when your nuker is nuking down waves of enemies, or it's good against any PvP content, when you're in the arena, right? Obviously, you're going to be ignoring a tremendous amount of defense. Helm Smasher combined with a Savage gear set is going to be your best friend for any damage dealer on your team. Very easy, guys, very simple. Rule of thumb for War Master versus Giant Slayer, doing additional damage is not predicated on your crit rate, so you can use this on anybody, even support champions on your team. Maybe you go defense tree, maybe they're not doing many buffs or debuffs. Hey, go ahead, maybe there's a healer or something. Go support and go offense. So put them on some of your healers, right? If you don't need the defensive tree. Either way, guys, War Master, general rule of thumb, is going on champions that have a 1 or 2 hitter on their A1. For example, Reliquary Tender, I believe she has a 2 hitter on her A1. I'm going to go War Master. A champion like Apothecary, however, I'm going to go Giant Slayer because he has a 3 hitter on his A1. 3, 4, 5 hitters, whatever there is, anything over 2, you're going to want to go with Giant Slayer because that's going to have a chance to occur per hit, and 3 hits is that magic number you're going to be looking for. So, okay, I lied. That was the 4th mastery we're talking about, but it was really 4 masteries. But I feel like people confuse, especially newer players, the tier 6 options for the offensive tree. I mentioned Cornelia, who I just did a guide on recently, if you guys want to check that out. Very fun champion. We're going to go ahead and focus on some defensive masteries, guys. Now, I love the defensive tree. Defensive tree is sneaky good for a lot of champions. Almost every champion in the game can benefit certainly from the defensive tree. I feel like early players have a tendency to go offense support on pretty much everybody unless they're a traditional tank. There's a lot of use cases for a lot of these masteries in the defensive tree. Definitely gonna have to have a part 2 to this video.
No.
Yes.
Never.
Yes.
Ever.
Please.
No. No.
Please.
No. Please. No.
Please.
No.
Please.
No.
Please.
No. Never. Ninamo. Nananamo. No.
But I want to start out with Blast Proof and improved parry, right? So these are 2 very important, very, very powerful damage mitigation masteries that can really go on anybody, right? So blast proof, damage decreases, or excuse me, damage received from AoE attacks decreases by 5%. That is very strong against most bosses, very strong against really anything, right? So damage received from every AoE attack by 5% is incredible, even for the arena. However, improved parry is a bit better for the arena, whereas blast proof is a little bit better for PvE content. Blast proof is going to be from every single AoE attack, but improved parry, well, arena nukers, almost all of them have a 100% crit rate. They're going to be hitting you with a critical attack almost every single time. So damage, decrease the damage received by this champion by 8% when this champion is hit with a critical hit. So it's better for the arena, and unfortunately, you cannot take them both. You have to make that decision. So I'm a big, big fan of going improved parry for the arena and blast proof for anywhere PvE. 5% damage mitigation is very strong. All right. The third one I want to talk about on the defensive tree, guys, is actually Resurgent. Sneaky, 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 an insanely good ability. We have a 50% chance to remove 1 random debuff from this champion when they lose 25% of their max HP, or more from a single enemy skill. You read this and you think, okay, that's pretty useful, it's pretty good. But it's really, really good. A 50% chance of removing 1 random debuff. Well, oftentimes, this skill is, or this mastery, excuse me, is proccing when you only have one debuff. The debuff that was just placed on you on that hit that did 25% of your max HP. So for example, if you're crowd controlled by like a Hegemon, for example, and you have Resurgent, you have a 50% chance to remove that random debuff because he's also doing a significant amount of damage on that attack in the arena. Obviously, that applies to every single boss in the game as well. Way more often than not, you're taking over 25% damage on their hard-hitting attacks. So Resurgent is a really good and often overlooked mastery. Sometimes people just take Resurgent to get down to Delay Death, which is very good, to get down to Cycle of Revenge and to Retribution, but they don't think much about that one mastery, Resurgent. Very, very good. Now, guys, again, I could talk about all these masteries, and I will have definitely a part 2, maybe a part 3 of this video, but I want to talk about Harvest Despair. This mastery is on Cornelia here for very good reason, right? Any champ has a 60% chance of placing a leech debuff for 1 turn when placing a stun, a sleep, a fear, a true fear, or a freeze. Well, leech is a great buff, or debuff, excuse me, buff for your team vis-a-vis the heals, but it's a great debuff since they buffed the leech ability about 6 months or a year ago. So Harvest Despair, any champion on your team, like Prince Kymar, like Cornelia, who's placing a sleep, or a ninja who's placing a freeze, or a, Silva Drakes who's placing a stun. There's a lot of stunners, a lot of freezers out there. Those are just a few, but put Harvest Despair on them as well. You're going to be getting a lot of heals, again, vis-a-vis the leech ability of Harvest Despair. It's a great way to keep your team healed, especially on an AoE crowd control ability. AoE, you're going to have a 60% chance of placing a leech on every single enemy. It's very, very good, guys. So those are the 4 that I want to talk about on the defensive tree. Now I want to go with Cardinal, who's a champion that I don't use very often, but she does have a good setup here. Where is she? Why am I struggling this bad in finding my Cardinal? Okay, she's right in front of my face, as always. Okay, so support tree here. Again, we already talked about the tier 1, On healers, you're generally going to be going down the left-hand lane, Steadfast, picking up Lay on Hands, very, very good ability. Depending if they're placing shields, picking up your shield masteries as well, Healing Saver as well. These are all very, very good masteries here. But I want to talk quickly about Charged Focus. So for debuffers, they tend to go on the right side of the support tree. We pick up Pinpoint Accuracy, we go to Charged Focus, and then we pick up Swarm Smiter to end off our trio of accuracy masteries, right? However, Charge Focus, increase accuracy by 20 when this champion has no skills on cooldown. For PvE, basically any dungeon, stuff like that, this is not that handy. It's really only helping you out if you're A1 cycling into the 3rd wave or on the very first hit of the very first attack of the battle, right? So increase accuracy by 20 when this champion has no skills on cooldown is very good and essential for arena debuffers, because oftentimes a Madame Ceres is only going to need 1 shot before the nuker comes in and cleans them up. Let's go over to Lore of Steel, guys. This could be the most important one that we talk about in today's video, because people confuse this one all the time. Increase the base stat set bonuses of all artifact sets that increase base stats by 15%.
What the
The way that reads to a lot of players out there is a very common misnomer, is artifacts that give me the 15% base stat boost are going to get an additional boost. That's how a lot of people read this. That is not a fact. That's not how it is. Increase the base stat bonuses of all artifact sets that increase base stats by 15%. Does that make more sense the second time I read it? Some of you are like, what? Well, I have no idea. You lost me, bro. Anything that touches base stats in any way, any artifact stat, like Perception, for example, right? Obviously, I probably have Perception on somebody here, right? Somebody? Anybody? Okay. Perception. Accuracy plus 40, speed plus 5%. Accuracy is a base stat. Accuracy is a base stat. Speed is a base stat. They're all going to get a 15% boost thanks to Lore of Steel. A lot of people read that to think that, like, let me just see here. It will only work on, why can't I, okay. It will only work on, like, a life gear because it's increasing HP by 15%. It will only work on offense gear because it's increasing attack by 15%. Defense, 15%. No, it will work on anything. It will give them an additional 15% boost. You guys get what I'm saying? And again, I hope that's helping. Some of you might be like, dude, that's so super obvious, but I see it all the time, people misunderstanding that mastery. So let's go back on Cardinal here. The next one I want to talk about is Lasting Gifts, the third one that I want to talk about on the support tree. Lasting Gifts is such a powerful ability here, guys, and and it is actually not on. Do I have it on maybe my Rector draft? Yes, I do. So guys, listen. A buff, like, okay, 30% chance to extend the duration of any buff cast by this champion by 1 turn. Such a powerful ability, right? Same thing with Master Hexer on the debuffs, but Lasting Gifts is going to be essential, guys. Really essential for really any buffer on your team, right? Because especially the champions with all the good buffs, the essential buffs, like Continuous Heal, for example, you're going to get a 30% chance to have the extension of another round on that buff. That's going to be another very significant heal, and that can add up through the duration of a battle on all of your allies. It works with almost every buff in the game. Increased defense, counterattack, almost everything, block debuffs. Only thing it doesn't work on is block damage, unkillable, and revive on death. Now, it almost feels like it should say, will not extend, you know, block debuffs, some of the other most powerful buffs, but it does work with those as well. So I'm a big fan of Lasting Gifts. The last mastery that I want to talk about is another cheat for you guys, and it's actually going to be Spirit Haste and Timely Intervention kind of used together. Now, first off, quick disclaimer, Eagle Eye for every arena debuffer in the game. A little bonus for you guys. You can never have enough accuracy in the arena, so your arena debuffer, your Madame Cereses of the world, you're gonna have Eagle Eye mastery on them, Stagnite, whomever that may be. But Spirit Haste, increased speed by 8 for each dead ally, stacks up to 24. Great, Ash, great for your campaign farmer. It's a crappy mastery otherwise. No. A lot of people, and I'm going to go back to Cardinal just for a second here, right? A lot of people will choose, a lot of smart players, right, will choose to go with, on their revivers, the combination of Spirit Haste, increased speed by 8 for each dead ally. Who do you need when you have a bunch of dead allies? You need your reviver, right? So Spirit Haste is really a very solid mastery on any reviver on your team, especially AoE revivers, right? Because when the going gets rough, you need them to go faster. So they'll grab Spirit Haste on revivers and come down and combo, basically tier 4, tier 5, and tier 6 with Timely Intervention. It synergizes very well these mastery choices. Increases champions' turn meter by 20% whenever any ally hero drops below 25%. So anytime someone is in danger, you need that heal, you need that revival, you'll have Timely Intervention, they die, you'll have the Spirit Haste boost on speed as well. So there you go, guys. Those are some very important mastery tips for you guys without going through every single one. Hopefully we talked about enough in this video, so all of you walked away with at least a little, grain of a nugget that you hadn't thought about otherwise. If you did, let me know what it was. Do you have a favorite mastery that we did not talk about in today's video, or a combination of masteries? Even better, let me know in the comments below, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.